back into my presentation here. All right. So again, my name is Ben Creesh, again, principal here at Paragon. So I'm going to try to keep this as exciting as it can be online. So here we go into our slideshow here. So I want to start with why we exist. So Paragon exists simply to provide an exemplary education that positively impacts lives and creates pathways to a successful future. We really felt like that encapsulates who we are as a school and what we are about. What we do here at the school, we really strive to develop high moral character with our students and also to create proficient critical thinkers. Those are in order because we really believe that we want to start with students' character development, and we really feel like those character virtues that we'll talk about, we call them moral focus virtues, really help them and impact them in a positive way and how they're thinking through the curriculum and how they're interacting with that curriculum. How we succeed and how we've had success for the past 22 years is by setting clear and high expectations for our teachers, our support staff, and our students. We do this through quality coaching for our teachers and staff who, again, relay those clear and high expectations to our students and their families. We continue to use a viable curriculum. What we mean by that is it's always vetted. We make sure that it is top-notch resources for our students. And then also we create strategies to connect college and career pathways for our students. What we have done in the past is that we begin at a very young age talking about what careers would look like, what their interests are. So if you enjoy learning and using your hands, what would that look like as a career? And we build upon that all the way through until a capstone project in 8th grade. Michelle mentioned that we are part of National Heritage Academies. We are a part of a great group of schools, 89 schools spread out over 9 states with just under 60,000 students. One of the great benefits of that is that it does enable us to be networked really, really well. We have seen the power of that network probably most for me over the past 17 years right now during COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm able to communicate with 89 other principals that are going through the exact same things that we're going through, and we're able to really harness the power of innovation and success and best practices and apply that right to our school here. One of the things that makes us unique is that we are a charter school, meaning we are completely a school of choice. We're open to all students. We're a public school. There's no cost for tuition here. One of the things about charter schools, sometimes you hear in the news, we have is that sometimes they paint the picture that there's not high accountability. That's not the experience I've ever had here. High level of accountability, both from the state of Michigan. We work closely with Grand Valley State University, whose holds our charter. So we go through a lot of rigorous weekly check-ins right now, and then also monthly, and then we go through yearly accountability standards to them as well. We have special education services here on site. We support for English language learners, and of course we follow the state and federal guidelines that are set before us. One of the things that I really think that is incredibly important to me as a parent of 2 students, soon to be 3 when kindergarten starts up in the fall here at Paragon, is the foundation of success that Michelle alluded to with her students that have gone through Paragon. And those are what we call our pillars: academic excellence, moral focus, student responsibility, and parental partnership. And as we're going through, I'll be touching on all 4 of those pillars. So talking a little bit about academic excellence, one of the things that's really important to me is that if we are a school of choice, you're choosing to send your students here. So I want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to make sure that your choice matters, and that we're doing our part to make sure your kid's getting a top-notch education, specifically when it comes down to academics. We have outperformed our local school district over the past 10 years. That local school district that we reside in is Jackson Public Schools. We also are in the top 3 of any proficiency scores in the county when you're looking at PSAT or MSTEP scores. One of the ways that we're able to do that is really by creating a personalized curriculum that focuses on students' unique abilities and gifts. One of the things, again, that we really want to stress is that we do look at a lot of data. So we track students' progress, and by tracking that progress and adjusting our instruction based upon the information that we're gathering, whether it be through a formative assessment, a quick check for understanding for students' progress, we're able to adjust and tweak our instruction to either teach a part of the class, the whole class, or an individualized instruction for a student. Something that's really important as well that kind of rounds out academic excellence is enrichment. So here at the school, we have a great art program. We have music. Music for us is young 5s through 8th grade. Starting in 5th grade, however, students begin to have the choice to either continue in our choir program or move into our band program. We also have a wonderful partnership with Jackson Symphony Orchestra. So starting in 3rd grade, students begin to take violin lessons, and then we progress all the way up into the junior youth symphony at the JSO, and that's a great partnership that we have that many kids take advantage of. We also have physical education and then library and technology. One of the things that you will notice, I think, from if you're coming new into Paragon is how rigorous of a curriculum we do have. And the purpose of that is we really want to make sure that our students are prepared for advanced high school courses and also really prepared with the skills necessary to be successful in college. So that kind of goes back to one of the beginning slides of how we are successful is we're continually connecting kids back into their future. So making sure that kids have those connection points. So the end goal is not always, when we think of college, I think a lot of times in the past, we always thought about 4-year degree. 4-year degrees are very beneficial. I know that served me very well. But when we think of college, there's a lot of other skill sets that kids would need to be successful in any trades that they would go into. There's always certification programs, and how we're preparing students would lead them to be successful both in a 4-year institution or a certification program for a career of their choice. Talked a little bit about student proficiency. So again, this is where we stack up in the county. Again, we outperformed the local district, Jackson Public Schools, as I said, in both MSTEP and PSAT. And this is a little bit of older data. Last year, we did not take the MSTEP. We were positioned really, really well. I was excited going into that, but we weren't able to do that due to schools being shut down in mid-March. And then this year, hopefully, we're able to take the MSTEP just to get a baseline data. Where are we at with our students? That way we can continue to hone in and make our curriculum more relevant to our students. So as you can see, we're always, Western nudged us out a little bit this past year for overall proficiency in overall grades 3 through 8th grade. But as you can see, we fought back heartily with our grades 6 through 8 and took the top spot there. So we do very well when we stack up against all the other districts here. This is a beginning for us, and we continue to improve our proficiency scores each and every year. Another aspect that we really want to make sure is that kids are in a caring and learning environment. And we really believe that learning begins with classroom culture, building relationships, setting clear expectations, and really understanding what your child needs. A lot of those things seem pretty cliche at times, and I hope you would hear that from any school that you're going to, but we have a lot of great systems, and I think systems are something that set us apart from other schools. We're very systematic in how we would do that. It's personalized, but there's expectations from administration to teachers, and also teachers in each grade level hold each other accountable to make sure they're getting to know their kids and building those relationships and understanding the needs of kids. And that builds from year to year. So if you can imagine a kid comes in young 5s or kindergarten, they're in the same building under the same care of these individuals from young 5s through 8th grade. That could be 10 years or 9 years. So we really get to know our kids and families really, really well. Accountability. I think it's important. Accountability is something that's really critical, so I think, for success in anything. But when it comes to having a great staff, we want to make sure our staff's certified, highly qualified, make sure we have a rigorous interview process. And then one of the things that I think really set us apart from other institutions is how we invest into our teachers with ongoing professional development. It continues to grow teachers each and every way. And that's what leads me quickly into this slide. Is called deans. Something that's, again, unique about our school is that we have a dean structure. We have 3 hallways in our building. a kindergarten first grade hallway, a second through fourth grade hallway, and then a fifth through eighth grade hallway. And each one of those hallways has a dean that oversees that group of teachers and also that group of students. The expectation from a dean, from me, is that they would be in every classroom every day. And they would also spend time in each classroom at a minimum of 30 minutes observing a lesson or helping out in those classrooms. In addition to that, those deans would have follow-up meetings. We call them one-on-ones or 30-minute meetings to go over what the dean observed in the teacher's classroom, how they were teaching, how they were instructing, how they can improve. That creates a really great collaborative team environment in our building. It does not create a type of micromanagement. I hope that's not coming across, but it just kind of builds exactly what we, as administrators, we would do for our teachers, what teachers would do for our kids. So it just creates a good collaborative work group together that really creates just a lot of best practices emerge through those and a lot of sharing of ideas. I talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but moral focus. We are really blessed with a great curriculum that we continue to refine and build upon each year that really teaches virtues throughout our school year. This month's moral focus virtue is perseverance. We always start the year off with wisdom, and we move into respect, and then we move into gratitude, and then we have self-control. But it's just a wonderful way that we're able to really connect great literature for students and then have great reflection questions. And students are actually graded on how they're progressing in their moral focus virtues. We want to make sure that they're applying this in their schoolwork and how they're interacting with each other. So this makes a great partnership between school and home, creates great conversations and starters for how you can engage a student into either reframing something or maybe asking some great reflection questions. But we really believe that moral focus virtues has helped us as a school entity grow our kids into just good people. Of course, they are good people when they come in, but it's always helpful as a parent myself. I love to have people talking similarly to my kids that I am. So that way together we're just able to hit different points. And as your kids get to different age groups, sometimes they need to hear the voice that's similar to their parents from a different adult. All right, so another thing that I want to talk about is just student responsibility. So making sure kids are engaged in their academics, making wise choices, and also we want to make sure that they understand there's consequences. I think a lot of times we think of negative, but consequences, quite honestly, really involve positives. So we want to make sure that as they're processing through their thinking, they're understanding the pros and cons of every decision. I always say as you get better and better at this, the choices that you have are actually looking at three really good situations. What's going to be the best for you that's going to match up with the goals that you've been setting up for yourself throughout the trimester and then throughout the year. Parental partnership. This has been probably the hardest part of school this year is parents bearing, quite honestly, the brunt of the school year. You've had to be more flexible than ever before. You've had to switch on a dime if there had been a COVID case in a classroom and there was close contact, so you had to quickly move your kid to a remote learning setting. Maybe your kids are in virtual right now. But parental partnership is something that we really take seriously, and it's hard not having parents in our building. It's hard doing this through a microphone and a video camera as opposed to not getting to know you and getting to know your kids and seeing them and how they're interacting with you. That's all just so precious to me and important. But I want you to know that we continue to dedicate, we have a dedicated room in our building in a typical year that's called our parent room, where you are welcome to come in and volunteer. And then also we love for you to be volunteers for lunchtime, for recess times, for field trips, helping out. We have a great reading partner program. We just love to have parents in our building. We really think that's important. The other part of that is making sure that you are communicated well with. So making sure things like this we communicate well with. We have principal coffees once a month, making sure that you're definitely connected in a valued part of our school community. So if you hear me say we want parents in our building, I would hope you ask the follow-up question of, oh, well, how do you make sure the school's safe? So we have a great secure campus. We have a visitor management system. So if you do come beyond our front office, you would have to sign in with your driver's license. It does a quick background check for us to make sure that you are safe to be in our school building. You still have to wear that badge, and then there would be certain spaces where you would need to say that you were going to. So if you're saying you're volunteering in K1, we would expect that you were staying in the K1 area. So we make sure we keep an open environment, but clearly communicated what expectations we have when you're here in the building to make sure we keep that safe and secure environment. And as we get to know you more, obviously, when we greet you, we'll know you a little bit better, and it just becomes a great family-oriented atmosphere here. One of the things that we always want to make sure that we're doing is express our commitment to you as families, and also with our kids. We spread that out, and that's hard work, good citizenship, and personal responsibility. And then kind of as we're moving through thinking about success, what does success look like at the end? And I shared that at the very beginning. That's proficient critical thinkers. And that always has to be coupled with our moral focused curriculum. We just want to make sure our students are proficient in what they're doing. They're critically thinking through all the different facts and citing resources and making sure that they're doing their due diligence. And that's really how we would qualify success. With that, I'm going to wrap up kind of the pre-planned portion of our meeting and stop sharing that screen and jump back on so I can see you guys. All right. So thank you so much for enduring that long time of me just talking at you. I usually like to have it a little bit more interactive, but I appreciate your patience as I worked through those. Right now, if you have any questions, I would love to be able to answer any specific questions you might have. And I'll just kind of give, this is called wait time, so it's kind of awkward. We'll just kind of stare at each other for a little bit unless somebody has a question they would like to ask. You can either unmute or you can type it in the chat box, and then I'd be happy to answer that.
Hi, I
Hi.
have a question. How and when will I know if my children have been accepted in the school?
Yeah. Michelle, can you answer that question real quick?
Sure, I sure can. So our last day of open enrollment is Friday, February 26th this year. It's the last business day in February always. So after 5 p.m., we'll know at that time whether or not we've received more applications than what we have open seats for. So after that point, we would be able to tell you, hey, we're going to have a lottery for a particular grade, or boom, you're in. So we'll know very soon, in about just a little over a month, we'll be able to tell you whether or not your child is in for sure. So you guys are ahead of the game, because I think this year, with COVID, things are a little bit differently. People maybe aren't applying as early. So you guys are smart. You're the head of the game. So you're in the right spot.
All righty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question. Thank you for asking. All right.
Well, everybody else, I would say while everyone else is thinking about it, I was just say, if I know you all have already applied, that's why you're here and you know about this meeting. If you do have any friends or relatives that are thinking about applying, just let them know kind of that magic date and time of February 26th at 5 o'clock. I'm assuming you all applied right online from our website. Does that sound, that's the way we receive most of our applications. So you already know where to send them to if you know anyone who might be interested.
Also, my children, I'm moving them from Florida to here. would you guys have access to the educational records online, or is it something that I need to get myself?
What will happen, usually the schools won't give them directly to you. What will happen as part of your your paperwork process, is you'll be signing a records release form, which will then, it'll be part of the paperwork. Then our registrar will send that to the school that they're coming from, or schools that they're coming from. And then they'll be able to mail those records directly to our office.
To your office. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That'll be all. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, of course.
Bye.
Bye bye.